Welcome back, gamers. It's Wintermute here from Grind This Game. Continuing on with the agricultural update base. It's been going pretty well. One thing I want to show you before I forget that I noticed in the detailed kind of patch notes, which I'll link to in the description, is the screenshot mode, which is you just do Alt-S, and it allows you to, it hides all the UI and it lets you zoom way out so you can see the whole map. I mean, at least the parts that you've exposed. So pretty cool. So you can take a screenshot from here, which I just did. I did notice there's a bit of a bug, so if you kind of scroll right, it just kind of goes on forever. That or the map is really that big, but it isn't because the neutronium starts right here. And then to get out of it, you just toggle back. So it lets you get a kind of a, while you're in that, you can unpause the game and zoom out fully, which is really kind of handy if you kind of want to see all the stuff that's going on at once. I find it pretty useful. But for this video, I'll zoom back in. So I added a few things since the last video. I put a air scrubber here, CO2 scrubber, because all the CO2 is kind of falling down into the, well, I built this area out a bit more. So CO2 should be falling down into here, mostly, and then I'm scrubbing it. And one thing I'm doing that's not efficient at all is sending the polluted water from the scrubber into this filter, and then I'm routing it back into this water tank. So it's a closed loop. This water level should stay the same forever, but it's going to use up our sand. This filter uses a lot of sand. If you kind of watch sand here while the game's running, well, it's not filtering at this exact moment, but when I was watching it earlier, it looks like it emits polluted dirt as well. Interesting. But anyway, it uses a lot of sand, so I'm going to try to build a water cooling system so we can get the water out of this geyser. That way we should have a source of water. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We might need a additional geyser, water geyser, to feed into this. But we are going to run out of sand at some point. That happened on my last map. It took about, I think, 600 cycles, and I hadn't gotten it completely from the map, but the other thing I might have done since the last update is built, I think, a second transformer here, which powers a separate circuit. So one circuit was overloading, so one goes down into this kind of loop, powers this, and then oh, I just realized these are joined together. These are not supposed to be joined together. I guess I had planned to have these as two separate circuits, but for some reason they're all in one right now. I'll probably split those out later on in this episode. So we got our natural gas generator. It's outputting polluted water and dumping it here, and it's also outputting CO2, which is building up quite a bit here. I dug out this area here. There's a puff down here, so I kind of wanted to give him more room, but he kind of escaped and he's been running around this area here. I tried to block him in, but it didn't work very well. If he does migrate back here, then I'll maybe block him in. I'm afraid to build a door because I've killed puffs in the past indoors. So I'm not sure if they fixed that bug or not, or whether it's even a bug. And I built down here below our kind of polluted water tank. I went way down here over this frost biome. And I'm growing sleet wheat here. And I originally had a pipe coming all the way in here with polluted water because I thought polluted water was used to irrigate everything, but that was not the case. So for sleet wheat, you want to use clean water. So I had to deconstruct all the pipe and rebuild it because it was full of polluted water. And I probably should have built my sleet wheat farm not here, but maybe over here. I don't know which is technically closer to the main base, probably that one. And there's a cool area down here, which I could have potentially used. I might end up building a farm in here, actually. We got tons of natural gas geysers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. But I'm not sure about this natural gas generator, because it's creating polluted water, which, I mean, it's good for some things, like making fertilizer. And it makes a lot of CO2, kind of like the coal generator, which is, we can get rid of it, but in the process we make more polluted water, so it's kind of tons of polluted water. One other thing I learned in the patch notes was that dupes that fart, they fart natural gas now instead of polluted oxygen. So you're going to have to deal with that natural gas. I already have some kind of flowing into the base here. It's not good. I also built this pump, which filters out polluted oxygen and sends it over to our puffed area. The idea was to eventually build a pump near the top of this room, which would be where the clean oxygen is from the puffed, and pipe it into the base and keep a nice source of polluted oxygen for him in here. I did read up on some ways to cool water, and kind of the two main ways that kind of make sense to me is to build kind of like a staircase type formation into a snow biome, ice biome, and that way it will cool as it kind of trickles down the stairs. It's like a passive cooling system. But I saw kind of a neater one where you cool down hydrogen and pipe the hydrogen gas through kind of a water vessel close to the steam geyser. But you need to build a cold room for that, which I might do right here. And the cold room you just basically fill with a bunch of wheezeworts. They cool down hydrogen and pass it through like a radiator system. So that's something I may attempt to build in this episode. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, so we'll see how that goes. I did build a second microbe musher because we were running out of food. One wasn't enough. I probably don't, now that we got 67,000 calories, I can probably disable it. We do have mealwood here, but I think we're going to run out of mealwood seeds, and that'll kind of be the end of the mealwood. I'm not sure if uprooting works like it did before, so let's try uprooting that. See if we get a seed. Got 8 now. Now we have 9, so it does work. Let's try it on one that's got 2 left. So we did get a seed, so we can kind of do the trick that existed before, where I'll have to try it with when there's only 1 harvest left, but to keep our seeds going. The other way is to get perfect conditions for your growing, and with those perfect conditions you'll get excellent yield and you'll get some seeds out of it. We need fertilizer, polluted water, the perfect temperature, perfect gas pressure. We want to sweep up our food here so it doesn't rot on the ground. Someone's got hypothermia. I heard that these sleet wheat are really good for food, so hopefully this works out. The clean water we're piping in here is hot water. I'm worried it's going to kind of heat up this room. Guess we'll find out. This pipe, oh, there's one section left. Unreachable, okay. Okay, there we go. So we got some fresh water going this time. How hot is it? Guess we'll find out. -45 degrees. Now I'm not sure it's gonna cool down along the way. So this first bubble is at 46 degrees. I mean, it's hot all the way here until we get to the end, so 40. Oh, that's the rock. The thermal overlay doesn't really show the temperature of the water, which is kind of annoying. Waiting irrigation. Well, it should be irrigated now, but it doesn't seem to be moving. Irrigation 0. This is kind of what happened when I was sending polluted water to it, but now we have the correct water. But it's not moving. Which is kind of annoying. Considering we have the right water this time. Well, regardless, it's growing just slowly. So this mealwood has 1 harvest remaining. Let's see if we get a seed back. Yes. So if we uproot them at 1 harvest remaining, we'll get a seed back. I don't really want to micromanage these, but it's a good source of food until we get our wheat going. I'm going to try to get this polluted water to fall down here. Free up this. This might be our cooling room for this geyser. Okay, that's good. Emptied. So the idea over here is to have a cool room with 6 wheezeworts. I actually saw this design from someone else who plays the game, Eadra. She's got a Twitch channel. So a cold room here, and then kind of a radiator system with piping, gas piping in here. So the idea is to seal up this room, get it full of hydrogen, and the wheezeworts will cool down the hydrogen, and then use that, pump the hydrogen through a radiator, which will cool this water. That's the theory, of course. Let's see how it works. We're going to need a electrolyzer for a source of hydrogen, which I haven't built yet. I usually build my electrolyzer in a little tiny sealed room so the hydrogen can't get out. And then I pump it into a hydrogen generator. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to do that. Maybe near the top of the base. We're not really using this area yet, so. So what I'm trying to do here is a electrolyzer, which will give off oxygen and hydrogen. This gas pump will suck it up. And there's a filter here, gas filter, which will filter out the hydrogen, put it in the hydrogen generator, and everything else will get piped into the base, which should just be pure oxygen. And it can be a pretty small room, so kind of the minimal size. I think that'll work. And we need clean water, which we'll get from this place for now. Once they've built everything else, I'll open this up so they can get in here. And eventually we'll have some cold water we can fill this with. Or we can just take directly from here if it's cold enough. This guy's got trapped in this little area here. Someone should hopefully dig them out. Actually, we can make this out of rock instead, so they can build it themselves. There they go. So build a double wall here, double wall down here, and then open this up a bit. So this is running now. So we got the electrolyzer, empty pipe. Okay, something's missing. Oh, it's not done yet. Oh, because I have to crack this open. Okay, let's deconstruct that pipe. And I should be able to get in there. And let's sweep the garbage that's in here while they're around. Because I've heard that if there's stuff in the water, it can pollute the water. We don't want that. So we got water flowing, clean water, to the electrolyzer. Slow things down a bit. So there she goes. Should be outputting oxygen and hydrogen. I've seen people put water in the room to try to cool this thing. I think this has a new animation that looks interesting. It seems to be working, as long as it doesn't overheat. And we've got lots of oxygen flowing here. This may not be the optimal setup, but it's the way I know how to do it, so... I think I've seen people try to build it in a vacuum, but this seems to work for now, so... We do have max gas pressure in the bedroom. We can try to pipe some more down to the other areas. These vents have a slight decor negative bias. Eventually we'll need to route some hydrogen down into this room that we're building. We need to build it first. Need to get some wheezeworts too as well. Which we were getting down here. Should be able to reach all this. Everyone's got the dirty hands debuff, so I'm gonna try to get this bleach stone. But we don't want the chlorine to escape. Got chlorine coming out already, so may want another airlock here. Can never have too many airlocks. Okay, now we can build a hand washing station, I think. And we'll put that by the eating tables. Cooking station, maybe right here. And then whenever we need bleach stone, we can just jump in here. So this natural gas generator, it makes a ton of power, but it also creates a ton of CO2, which requires clean water to get rid of. I may just go back to manual power generation for now. We'll see. If this room gets full, we'll go back to manual generation. Buddha's decayed. Buddha's always decaying. Okay, this mealwood's ready. But we don't really need it, so we'll just let it fall off the vine, so to speak. I didn't really need to build this. The water wasn't going in here earlier. Empty pipe. So it can't make it to the last one. Probably wondering what I'm doing here. But we're trying to have the water split off into threes. Making a mess here. The idea though is the water branches here, half goes here, half goes here. and then it branches 3 ways, because if it seems if you just put a pipe along the whole way, it can only get 3 planters in, which seems a bit lame. Means you have to build this kind of elaborate branching system. So now the water should flow. If we completed it, which we didn't, should be able to get to this 4th one. Building broken. Oh, it's all full of polluted water. Huh. That's from my failed experiment. But these are all so close to being grown, I'm just going to leave them till they finish. Once I harvest them, I'll recreate these. Oh, our first Bristle Blossom. Okay, they got this cleared out when I wasn't looking, which is nice. We did have Wheezewort seeds. Wheezewort. For some reason they don't want to plant them here, which I don't understand. Oh, maybe you don't put them in planter boxes. Maybe you put them in flower vases or whatever they're called. Decor. Yeah, maybe they go in flower vases. So good to know. Wheezeworts can only go in flower vases. I'm such a noob. I did not realize this. Let's get rid of those planter boxes. So now our water is flowing. So it splits here, 50-50, and then it splits 3 ways here. Left, mid, oh, left, right, middle? Left, right, middle? Okay, good. So if we do hydroponics in these other 2, we can increase the yield. This thing is pretty ugly though. I probably should have done it from the bottom up. But, whatever. Lesson learned. Okay, so these pipes are freezing. So you can't really irrigate. Can't really irrigate in a frozen biome, as far as I can tell. These are going to be done growing soon. I'm going to deconstruct these. So we got our first Sleet Harvest, which is pretty cool. So harvest all that. And I'm going to replace all of these hydroponics with regular planters because the water's just freezing in here and breaking the hydroponic farm. So now under food, Sleet wheat grain 52. So I guess you can't eat it just as is. We actually have to turn it into something delicious. So let's cancel these yucky bars, mush fries, and try pepperbread. Sleet wheat grain. I think we have more than just 5. Or maybe it's telling us, oh yeah, it's telling us it needs 5. That's kind of misleading. So let's try that continuously. We're going to need more Pincha Peppernut to make that nice stuff. Is there anything else we can make with that grain? Frost bun? Oh yeah, we can make frost buns. So let's make 1 pepper bread. And then a bunch of frost buns. This will be our first pepper bread. Hooray! Delicious pepper bread. Now we don't want it to rot, so let's sweep it into the fridge right away. We got some frost buns. So frost buns take 3, and they add 1,000 calories. Well, barbecue is meat and peppernut. Bristleberry is, can make bristleberries into this stuff. The gristleberry. So let's just make frost buns continuously. The quality is poor, so we're gonna, if we get Pincha Peppernuts, a bunch of those, we can make some pepper bread. So I got these farm tiles rebuilt, but now I'm kind of out of fertilizer. And to make fertilizer now, you need a fertilizer maker, but a fertilizer maker now gives off natural gas, and we don't want that just flowing into the world, or because it'll be a hassle to clean up. So my idea is to build fertilizer makers here in a sealed room joined with this room, so that the natural gas that kind of comes off them is consumed and burned. And then maybe with a double airlock, the dupes will be able to go in and get the fertilizer without releasing any natural gas. So that's the idea. And I'm building, because the polluted water from this natural gas generator kind of leaks into here, I'm going to have this as the source of the polluted water for the fertilizer maker. We're going to need more Weezeworts for this room. I might actually have to finish this off in the next episode, because I still need to pump hydrogen in here. I need 6 Weezeworts. I need to cool the hydrogen, and then I need to build the radiator in here, which shouldn't be too bad. This is actually starting to fill up pretty fast though. Our fridge is full, so we need a second fridge. I hope this circuit doesn't get too overloaded. It seems like you can run the light electrical wire right off the heavy wire without any problems. At least it seems that way. Right now I have my CO2 just coming out here and dumping in here. And instead I think I might just send it to the bottom of the base where I have the scrubber here. And I already have a pipe going most of the way. So this was originally meant to clear out the polluted oxygen that was in here, but now there's none. The only thing that's in here is natural gas. So I could put, if I destroy this, and then put a vent at the end here. Gas vent right here. Oh, I can't build it right there. Right there, I guess. And then I can send the CO2 here instead. Oh. But not all the way to there. Actually, we want it to go down here. So there we go. CO2 should be coming out here instead. And I think it's safe to remove this pipe. There we are, fertilizer maker. Okay. We need this pipe done though. Should be reachable. And we need some power. We could have this, get rid of this dirty water right now. If we carve this out, it should all leak in there. So we almost have this sealed fertilizer room here. Once this is all built up here, and then I can crack this open, kind of fuse these two rooms together. And that way the natural gas that's in here will get consumed. That's the theory, at least. A little bit is escaping here. I might try that bug that I've heard people talk about where dupes just run under the door. Seems to work. Not sure though. So this is sealed. And so I think it's safe to deconstruct this. Make it all one room. Actually, we need a gas vent right here so that the polluted oxygen that's in this room can get free. Power is not overloaded. Let's get another one in there. This may fill up and overflow at some point. But now that we have these connected, it might not. I haven't really looked at the rest of the base for quite some time. Our puffed is kind of in a bad place here. We kind of want him over here, but there's some chlorine in here. I'm not sure where the chlorine's coming from. We did have this up here, but can't imagine that much chlorine came down from that. I guess we could have put the fertilizer makers over here in a sealed room. Use this polluted water and consume the natural gas with a turbine down here. That way the fertilizer would be really close to the plants. Or we can put the plants over in this cold area. I didn't want the puff to get in here though, but might be okay. Check out that decor. We should really make it so they have to go this way. Avoid all that ugliness and then come down this way. So the sleet wheat seems to be growing again, which is good. In regular farm tiles. And we got a good amount of it here, so... And now that we have the fertilizer under control, this should be a good source of food. And we have our Pincha pepper plants in this heated room here. So that's good. We got that growing. We never did finish this room. We'll have to do it in the next episode, which will eventually super cool hydrogen and then cool down this geyser water because it's hot. Well, you can already see they're cooling down this area quite nicely. So even though this was the big plan for this episode, we got some other stuff done instead, which is good. Basically developed this whole area. Got the fertilizer going. Learned some new things. So I think I'm going to wrap up this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for future episode alerts. And I'll probably be putting out a new episode every day or two until I get this base kind of to the point where I want it. Okay, thanks for watching.